Hello, everybody. This is Zach Gowen, and you are tuned in to InYourHeadOnline.com. This is In Your Head Wrestling Radio at its best. Keep it locked in.
All right, and we're back once again. Want to thank Sarah Del Rey for coming on. And now we're joined by Zach Gowen. Welcome to In Your Head.
Hello. Thank you for having me. This is pretty neat.
Yeah. Now, we talked to Sarah Del Rey about the Hoedown Showdown for the Pound 3, which is a name no one can forget. That's in Marietta,
Right.
Ohio, April 2nd at RemixProWrestling.com. And you will also be on the show.
Yeah, I'll be on that show, man. And it's one of the I have a really busy spring and summer coming up, and I think it's the show I'm most looking forward to. Not only because it's going to be a great wrestling show. There's going to be great people there. You know, obviously Mickie James, Sarah Del Rey, Jimmy Yang. But we're raising money for the Humane Society. Last year they raised over $10,000, and you know, and anything I can be a part of, where I can donate my where I can donate my talents or my skills or what have you for a good cause. It always feels good for me to give back.
Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes maybe people think it's unusual, but I think this match is so big that, you know, it's main evented by a women's match, Mickie James versus Sarah Del Rey. Now, we were talking a little beforehand, and you were saying how, you know, talented Sarah Del Rey is. Are you yourself looking forward to seeing this match?
Yeah, that's the marquee matchup, man. And I think the match that people are most looking forward to, and I think the biggest match, no matter who's involved, it should go on last. I mean, Mickie James is, in the past 5 years, is the biggest women's wrestler we've seen. Sarah Del Rey, who's just a wealth of talent and raw ability. To see those two head to head, man, and to see, you know, the best woman come on top, I'm looking forward to watching it just as a fan watching it, you know.
Mm-hmm. So who will you be wrestling on the show?
I am in a three-way dance. I'm in a three-way dance with young Zach Vincent and Jason Gorey. And it's the #1 contender match for the ASW X Division title. So we're gonna get wild, we're gonna get reckless, we're gonna get crazy. We're going to represent the X Division as best we can.
Mm-hmm. Now, is it hard to have a three-way match?
I wouldn't prefer it. But it's been a theme of my career. Any situation that I get put in, I usually have to adapt and do something different, and you know, hopefully the end result will see my hand raised. But Zach Vincent's an incredible talent. He reminds me. I've wrestled him before. It was like wrestling John Morrison. The same caliber of talent. Jason Gorey's kind of a dickhead, but he's you know, and no uncertain terms, but he's talented too, man. And so I think all three of us, when we get together on April 2nd in Marietta, I think we're gonna do some spectacular stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you prefer to wrestle, you know, other like high flying guys, or matches where you're more the underdog, you know, against a big guy?
I like it all, man. I'm more comfortable in there with someone my size.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a really good story to tell. When you have me, I weigh 160 pounds. I lost my left leg when I was 8 years old. I'm the world's only one-legged professional wrestler, man. And when you have somebody my size against like a big bully type of wrestler, I think that's an interesting story, and I think it appeals to a lot of wrestling fans. So you'll probably see that more often than not.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna ask this: how scary was Brock Lesnar?
I've never been more scared in my life, man. Like I'm in, you know, my hometown of Detroit, Michigan, at Joe Louis Arena, which 2 years earlier I had a ticket to watch a SmackDown taping. You know, fast forward 2 years, I'm in the middle of the ring with Brock Lesnar, and quite frankly, I was scared to death, man, because here's a guy who, if he wanted to, he could kill me with one move. like it, and that took a lot of trust on my part to give him my body. And to his credit, man, he really took care of me, and it was a lot of fun. The Big Show once told me that out of all the guys he's been in the ring with, Brock Lesnar is the strongest. And if you think about it, man, Big Show's been in the ring with everybody from Goldberg to Hogan to, you name it. He's been in the ring with them. And so I think that it's a testament to Brock's raw ability and strength and power.
Answer, did you have a question?
Yeah, Mr. Moxley on our message board here, he has a question. He wants to know, what are his thoughts on Truth Martini?
Truth. Right now we're not seeing eye to eye. Truth, for a little backstory, Truth is the guy who broke me into wrestling in 2002, and he's one of the sharpest guys I've ever met in or out of wrestling. The man's, I think, if it's like an IQ test, it would be way up there. I'm not seeing eye to eye with him because we did he invited me to join the House of Truth in Ring of Honor recently. I did 2 matches with the House of Truth. It was me and Michael Elgin. At the end of the second match, Michael Elgin turns on me because Truth told him to, and Michael Elgin beat me to a pulp. And I haven't spoken to Truth since, man. But, if that's what he wanted to do and he thought that was the right direction for the House of Truth and whatnot, then, more power to him. But, quite frankly, I don't like it.
Well, one of our listeners is currently at his school being trained to wrestle. And his name is actually Zach as well, so it's kind of interesting. But why are your Ring of Honor runs been so short? And you think you'll go back?
I don't know. It's that's a good question. I worked for him before under when Gabe was running the show, and I don't. The first time I actually got heat with Ring of Honor, which is surprising because if you know anything about my career, I never get heat with anybody. but Ring of Honor had, I think it was their 2nd anniversary show, and I was just coming off TV, and they wanted me to be in New York and have a segment, and basically I do my thing, and Samoa Joe comes out and kills me, which I had no problem with, and everything was good to go. But there was a miscommunication where they thought I was going to drive in. I was waiting for my flight info, and by the time we touched base and tried to figure it out, it was too late, and I wasn't there. And I think Gabe might have held some ill feelings towards me because of that. And so I was used sporadically when he was there. Now, man, I came back last fall for them, and I seem to do pretty well, and I got a nice reception from the fans and from the office and the guys in the locker room. And I think it's just a matter of finding the right time and right place and right angle to do it. Because I'm not a talent where you can just plug in and run with it. There has to be some certain things set up, and for it to make it work and to get the most out of it. So right now we're just kind of waiting for the right opportunity and right time to present itself. And once it does, man, we're off to the races, rocking and rolling.
Mm-hmm. No, back to Brock real quick. When he did the thing where he threw down the steps, how dangerous was that? Did you get hurt?
Well, no, that wasn't me. That was a stunt double.
Oh, okay.
That whole thing, yeah. And it was funny. Right before we were taping it, and right before Vince asked me if I felt comfortable doing it myself, and I said absolutely not. It was I would do a lot of things while I was there, in the WWE, but that's one thing I wouldn't compromise on. I wasn't trained, and I certainly wasn't trying to fall down 2 flights of stairs. You know what I mean? So
I can't blame you there.
Yeah, you're right. I have to put my my health first sometimes. So they brought a guy in who looked just like me, and they put his leg in the brace, and they made it look just like me. And he took the fall, and he was fine. But that whole day was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, what was Vince like? Because he didn't hang with you right away, and like when he saw you, did he like you right away and think like he can make a lot of money with you, or what was like?
Yeah, Vince liked me a lot because I think of course above all else he's a businessman, and he's a very smart guy, and he has vision. A lot of companies right now in wrestling lack vision. I think you have to have vision to be a successful company. And Vince has always had vision. And the thing we did, the 6 months of TV 8 years ago is still being talked about now. And I think he knew about that. He knew what would work and what wouldn't work. And that's why I have all the respect in the world for Vince, man. Like, I think he's the guy,
Well, do you think, maybe at the time you didn't think it at the time, but looking back, do you think that was too much for you right away, coming right into the company and working with Big Show and Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan?
Yeah. Oh, totally, man. Like, if I could rewrite history, I wouldn't probably, I was in WWE in 2003. I probably wouldn't have gone until like 2010 or this year, even. It's so because I wasn't mature enough. I wasn't able to handle that lifestyle and what it took to be a success on that level. I had no idea, and I really didn't know what I was getting into. I was basically, I think I had like 25 matches on the independent scene in front of nobody. I do a dark match in TNA. Basically, everyone finds out about me through that dark match, and I get signed. And it happens so fast. And I would certainly slow down the process if I could rewrite history. That's for sure.
Was TNA mad that you left there and then went to WWE?
I don't think they're mad. But I know Jeff Jarrett called me and tried to talk me out of signing with them and talk me into staying with TNA. But, I was 19 years old at the time, and it's been my dream since I was a kid to wrestle for WWE. And that's what I was going to do, and that's what I did.
Let's see here. If you guys want to call in, it's 508-644-8503. We've got William on the line. William, do you have a question for Zach?
Hey, Zach, how you doing this evening?
William, what's up, man?
Hey, dude, I've always been impressed by your work.
Well, thank you.
I always remember the confidential special they had with you back in 2003, and they shared your story and everything, and that interview was, I still remember it to this day.
Right on, man. I appreciate that. I think it's one of the best things I've ever been a part of, and that's a credit to WWE's production team and the guys they have working over there, man. It was a really good piece. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, definitely got a really good insight on your character, and you really got, really what happened to you and how you got, how you have one leg, and it was a tremendous piece.
Well, thank you.
I always had a question on when you first started. What was the idea behind you standing in Mr. America's corner? Because I always remember you standing in the corner, and that's when I think it was either Roddy Piper or Sean O'Haire pulled off your leg, and that's when you got introduced.
Right. And I didn't know about that until I think 2 days before we taped it. That was just kind of a last minute thing, but I think they saw an opportunity. They saw an opening to slide me into a built-in angle. And the first thing I ever did on national television was I hopped the rail, the guardrail. I was a fan in the audience. I hopped the guardrail and I smashed Roddy Piper as hard as I could with this big, thick flagpole. And that I was really scared that I was going to hurt him, man, because that to me as the mark I was like I'm looking at him like, okay, that's Roddy Piper, and I have to smash him with a huge flagpole, and that scared me. But he told me before we went out, he goes, kid, hit me as hard as you can with that fucking flagpole. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to swear. I don't
That's
know
all right.
Swear or not, okay. Yeah, he goes, hit me as hard as you can with that flagpole. And so he kind of scared me into hitting him as hard as I could. So I smashed him with it. Sean O'Hare, who's, 6'8", 320 at the time. Yo, what's up?
Go on, sorry. If you guys call in, just wait till we call on you. It's not that hard. Go on, Zach, sorry.
Yeah, well, it ends, like, this is my first thing on national television. I smash Roddy Piper. Sean O'Hare tackles me, and Piper rips off my leg. Funny story, Piper tried to pull the wrong leg off at first. Like, he grabbed my right leg and starts yanking. He's like, what's going on, kid? Why isn't it coming off? And I'm like, you got the wrong leg, Mr. Piper. And he's like, fuck. And then so he grabbed the prosthetic leg, then he ripped it off, and I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, that was my introduction to the wrestling fans, the masses, man. It was with Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan and Sean O'Hare, man.
Mm-hmm. Now, was that always like was that their first idea to debut you, or was there anything else they thought of?
I think that's the only idea. I met with the writers and stuff like that, like the week before, and I pitched them a few of my ideas I had, but I don't think anybody liked them because obviously they went. Obviously, I didn't pitch. My first angle. I want to be with Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, and Vince McMahon.
Right.
That certainly wasn't my pitch. It should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And,
what was your ideas?
I don't. I'm trying to remember. I wanted to do like a 1, 2, 3 kid thing. I think that was one of my pitches where I come out and basically we don't acknowledge the fact that I have one leg, which I don't know how well that would have went over.
Mm-hmm.
But basically where I come out and I lose, and I finally beat somebody, and we go from there. I think that was one of my angles. I'm trying to remember the other ones, but yeah, they wanted to, and I think they were right. Like, you have to acknowledge the fact that I have one leg. You have to acknowledge the fact that there's nobody out there that's like me, and we have to exploit that and run with it. And that's what they did.
Mm-hmm. Did they ever think to do anything kind of like maybe at the Royal Rumble where like you couldn't get eliminated because you have to land 2 feet on the mat or anything like that?
Yeah, man. I even recently I've pitched that to them, and the people I pitched it to, they like it. Back then I pitched it too, but for some reason it never worked out that way for me, and it never materialized. But hopefully it's something that I could visit in the future.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea. I don't know, when the Pirate Bird Show was there, I always thought like they could have done a peg leg Gowen. No, and I don't know if you guys know who Jimmy Jacobs is, but he's a good friend of mine, and he's also a great professional wrestler. Mm-hmm. But that's an idea we had too. We thought that was my in a few years ago. Either I never pitched it, or I pitched it and like everything else, it just got rejected. But I thought that would have been fresh, man. Yeah, that'd be good stuff. All right, thanks for calling in, William.
Hey, just one other question. Well, what was behind that kick-ass theme music? I always remember that.
The Caesar song. Originally, what I've heard is that song was originally made for Kurt Angle. They were going to turn Kurt Angle into a babyface, and they didn't want people chanting "You suck, you suck" to the tune of his theme song. So they thought he needed a new babyface theme song, and basically, so they had it in the can, ready to go. They turned Kurt Angle face, but they decided to keep the song the way it was. And I came along at the right time, and they gave the song to me. I personally like that song a lot, man. I think the song fits me, and I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it's on my iPod when I'm in the gym. Sometimes I want to get inspired. Like I'll turn on my WWE theme music, and I'll get my pump on.
Sweet.
That definitely fit that music definitely fit your character really perfect. And it was just such a kick-ass theme. It just went well.
Yeah.
Everything just went perfect.
Right on, man. For sure. Thank you.
Thanks for calling in, William. You're a good dude.
Yeah, keep up great work, Zach.
All right, man. Thanks, William. Appreciate the words.
All right, we got Gene on the line. Gene.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. You had a question for
Hello?
Zach?
Zach, how are you, Zach? I just wanted to say, what was it like being put in an angle with the McMahons, working with Vince and working with Stephanie? And is he that intimidating in person, or is everything true what they say about him?
Yeah, it's a great question, and Vince is very intimidating at first. I was really fortunate that I got to spend a lot of time with him and his family, Stephanie and Shane, and Linda as well. And they're just like any other family out there in America. They're really down to earth. They're really kind people. And once you get past the exterior, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and you get down to Vince. He's a really, really nice, humble, modest guy.
Awesome. What were your thoughts of Brock Lesnar? I believe you were there at the same time he was. What were your thoughts about him? And was all the hype behind him? Was it well deserved, or how was he like?
I think so. He when I was there, he was, I think, only wrestling 2 years at that point, and he was world champion, and he was in angles with The Rock and The Undertaker. And I think Brock probably, if he stuck around, he would have been one of the biggest stars in the history of wrestling. He had everything. He was so quick and so strong, and so he was very charismatic too. I don't think he gets enough credit as far as how charismatic he was. He's a very charismatic guy, and just the sheer sight of him. He walks into a room, heads turn, and he had that star quality about him. And I think he would have been awesome. He made a career choice, whatever he thought it was best for him in his career. He's doing that right now, and I'm a fan of Brock Lesnar, man. I order every pay-per-view, every UFC he's on, and I watch him when I can. So I think he's great.
He's the man. Thanks for calling in, Gene.
No problem. I just got one more question.
All right, make it quick.
Real quick. Who works really stiff with you? I'm sure you had one guy that was just really stiff to work with. I mean, everybody's had that one person that they're like, damn, I'm working with him tonight. Anybody?
Nobody really jumps to mind. And I think it's because that's the nature of the beast. Sometimes you're going to have guys who are huge and strong, and they can't help it. And the old saying goes, it's not ballet. And so when I get in the ring, I'm expecting a certain physicality aspect to be present, and usually it's there. And basically, the strong survive.
Kind of the reverse of that. Were there any guys that when they would work with you, that they'd be too afraid that they might hurt you, or didn't want to do certain moves with you?
Yeah, I find that on the indie scene a lot, man. Where and I hate that term. Some kid, right? Like I'm 27 years old, and I'm calling somebody else a kid, and I hated being called a kid when I was you know what I mean? Like I hate that. But some young guy who's starting out, who may have watched me when they were a teenager or something, and they might be a little intimidated. When they're in the ring with me, and I hate it, man. Like if you're not bringing it, like the match is gonna suck, because that's where my appeal comes from. My appeal comes from when I'm getting beat up, and I come back from that. So if you're not beating me up, then I can't come back from that, and the match is gonna stink, all because you're insecure and afraid. I think it's better to lay it in than to like miss on things and be timid and be scared, Like I was never like that. No matter, like, you're sure in the back, like, all right, wow, I'm wrestling against McMahon, but when I get in the ring, Vince is just another wrestler, You know, that's how I'm seeing it. And this is just another match, and this is, you know, there's certain things I have to do to make this match good. And I wish other people, you know, namely, you know, younger guys that I work with on the indie scene, I wish they would bring it more, man.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for calling in, Gene. We're going to take one last call here. We got Nikhil from England.
Hi. I just want to ask Zach, did you ever suffer from wrestler's court? What was it like?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
he wanted to know if you ever had to deal with wrestler's court.
I was supposed to. They called a wrestler's court for me, and it was this whole big stink in the locker room, and you know I was scared, and I was afraid of what was going to happen, and all this kind of stuff. The day we're supposed to have the wrestler's court, I get hurt on SmackDown, in what turned out to be my last match there. So I get hurt in the match, and they send me home the next day, and it never happened. So, I mean, I kind of dodged the bullet there, I guess, you know. But yeah, I was supposed to be involved, but it never materialized because I got hurt.
Mm-hmm. All right, thanks for calling in, Nikhil.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Incher, you got a question from the board?
Yeah, I did actually. Let's see. Did Matt Hardy, did he have any heat with you with your angle in 2003?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to Matt since we since I parted ways with WWE. But to my face, man, Matt was always one of the cooler guys there. He's one of the guys that really extended the olive branch and tried to help me out a lot. And he's the guy I think I worked with most, like on the house shows and stuff like that. I got nothing but respect for Matt. I think he's a tremendously talented guy, and I'll always be grateful that he helped me out when I was there.
Mm-hmm. Let everybody know again, the Hoedown for the Showdown for the Pound 3, Marietta, Ohio, April 2nd, Remix Pro Wrestling. Got a lot, pretty stacked card there. Mickey James versus Sarah Del Rey for the first time. Zach Gowen's going to be on there. Tracy Smothers. That's always one of my favorites. And it's for a good cause, so check that out. Get your tickets. And I want to thank you for coming on tonight, Zach.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. And if anybody wants any information on that show, it's the address is www.remixprowrestling.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's for a great cause, and I hope to see everybody out there.
Cool.
Hey, this is Harry Smith, and you're listening to InYourHeadOnline.com.